Oh, we are.
Oh,
now.
I think we're live. Ah, there we go. We're live. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Josh Adams and Lloyd Williams. Oh, there you are. Ah, the boys. You had like a little intro there on Zoom. That was wonderful. Lloyd, we've got the same curtains. This is great news.
Yeah, good taste.
Nice. Little like beige. Keep it minimalistic, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Josh, I was expecting some, like, I don't know, memorabilia behind you, you know, some hat-trick
no,
trophies
I'm quite plain, so...
Quite plain what you got there. With the dogs, with the cockapoodles.
Oh, they're not here. I've locked them out. Make sure they can't get out.
Are you wearing a blanket there, Josh?
No, there is one, but yeah.
Oh, you just got a blanket in case you get a bit chilly.
Yeah, it's a bit colder.
That's like an old school game ready, isn't it? Just what you do before a game, the blanket.
I don't believe in game readies.
Oh, do you not?
No.
I just bought one there. Not an investment into my career, but yes. Cheers, Josh.
Well, let me know how it goes, innit?
Yeah, I will.
Why not fan you old fashioned, like get in the sea and then warm up and on the sofa, is it?
Yeah, just bag of peas from the freezer, I think.
Absolutely, quite right.
It's a lot easier.
If anyone's logging in now, they'll think, what is this Q&A all about? We've done 1 minute and 30 on blankets so far, but it's riveting. You know, there's an insight into professional rugby right now.
Yeah, that's how we do it.
Boys, how was Christmas? Weirdest year ever. Josh, how was yours?
Yeah, it was all right. Because of the rules, you can only have like one household, isn't it? That's what they were saying. So it's a bit different to what I usually have. We usually go to my grandparents. There's about 16, 17 of us most Christmases.
Oh, wow.
So nice. I know there's a hell of a gang of us. So I just had my parents around this Christmas. I hosted first and last time, I think. But yeah, it was nice. It was nice enough, and we enjoyed the day as best as we could, really, under what was pretty rubbish circumstances at the minute.
Did you cook then?
No, I didn't. No, my missus done all the cooking. Yeah, so
it's stressful, isn't it?
She done the meat, the turkey, etc., and then my mother chipped in. You know, she brought the roasties, the stuff in. You know, also she wasn't left to do it all. So it was a bit of a shared workload, but it was nice enough. It was nice enough.
Yeah, made the most of it. What about you, Lloyd? Where were you? What were you doing?
I was at home with my parents. Found I'm not sure if you call it a loophole or illegal, but my brother came home as well from Jersey, so he spent it with us too. But, he got a test before coming back, so he was all good. But it was okay. It's a bit different to usual, but we had a good day, to be fair, and it's all right.
Who cooks in your house?
Mum, she did the cooking. She's
turkey.
Turkey crown. It was lovely, actually. Fair play to her.
As you just saw now from the questions coming in, though, like always difficult as a pro sports person, but even more so this year when you're spending Christmas. It's true, isn't it? Because you can't really have a Christmas day, or you can't really let go on New Year's Eve either, can you?
I haven't been able to, really get into the drinking and festive side of it with the family for a few years. I remember one year when I was playing for Worcester, came back Christmas Eve after training, done the rounds, went to see all the family, had Christmas Day and my grandparents, and then in the evening then I had to drive back up to Worcester Christmas evening, nice. which was horrible because we were playing Bristol the next day, so that wasn't ideal. So yeah, literally for the past 4 years, I don't think I've been able to, really sit around the table and get a bit merry with everybody.
Yeah, you got to think about it. I mean, you being your blanket, Lloyd in his game ready, thinking about the big game the next day. Someone told me that you did eat a kilogram of dairy milk yesterday, though, Josh. Can you confirm or deny these rumours?
Yeah, that is true. Probably doesn't go any further than this.
Okay,
but yeah, I did. Yeah,
extra calories. Obviously, that's what we'll put it down to. It is a weird time, though, Lloyd. You've been doing it for a long, long time. Is it just the norm now, Christmas, to know that you're going to kind of keep your eyes on the prize?
Yeah, I think I was talking to you, Jadzzy, the other day. I was saying I can't remember the last Christmas I had where I could actually really enjoy it. And I usually love Christmas, but it's not what I kind of associate it with. And usually local is like a real big couple of days in terms of socialising with mates and catching up with boys I haven't seen all year round, and the ones you say you'll catch up for a pint, you don't see them again for a year. But still, it's still quite good to catch up with those people. And but this year, I guess in a good way, that wasn't happening. So didn't miss out on that this year. But yeah, just odd, really. I like everyone probably watching this. Just no one really had a normal Christmas because of everything that like surrounds it. But one Christmas for the sake of another God knows how many. So
yeah. Let's hope next year's as normal as it was before, innit?
Yeah, we can make up for it then.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well played. Do you know, and actually one of my favourite things to do when I come home from London is to come and watch Blues Boxing Day and stuff, and I really miss that. It's just not the same on telly, is it? Before we get to those derbies, by the way, which is what we're going to focus on in a second, I didn't know, Lloyd, do you call Josh Chadsey? Is that Chadsey? Is that the nickname?
I haven't called you Josh. I only called him Chadsey.
Chadsey. Never called him. Because I heard you had another nickname called Chips. Is this true?
Yeah, it is true. Yeah, that is true.
Do you know, Lloyd? Did you know about this nickname?
I did know Chips, but he told me once under his breath not to ever call him it, so I've stuck with that.
Can you explain why you called Chips? Is it stuck, by the way? Does anyone still call you Chips?
Yeah. Actually, there's quite a few boys who do call me Chips. It's not even a bad story, right? It's nothing bad. But when I was under 11s, I think it was, I was with Llanelli schoolboys under 11s, and we had like a player profile, and they wanted you to write your hobbies and your interests, position, etc., all that stuff you do in a profile for the matchday programs that they give out. And there was one section, obviously, it said nickname. Now, for some reason, nobody'd ever called me Chips before, but I quite fancied being called Chips, so I wrote Chips.
I love it, and it's stuck ever since.
And we brought it up. We were in Switzerland in the pre-World Cup training camp, and I honestly I don't know how that conversation came up, but I can remember we were chatting with the boys, and that conversation came up, and then Steph Evans, who was at the Scarlets, who was in the schoolboys team with me at the time, he was like, "Oh, Jadzi, remember when you wrote Chips in the program?" So everybody was creased that I just called myself Chips. And,
I like it.
And literally from then, not all the boys, but there's a good few boys who call me Chips. Yeah.
All right, Chips. We'll leave it at that. You mentioned Steph Evans there, which I think he's probably had one haircut of the year, isn't he? A good friend of mine was asking today, Lloyd, whether that's the line that you're going with at the moment. Are you growing your hair out to be able to get the inner wedge out to match Steph's designer haircut?
You could comfortably turn that into a mullet, couldn't you?
This would be one of the best mullets you see as well. It's got a lot of girth at the back here, but no, to be honest, it happened in lockdown. The barbers are shut, so I
grew it out.
Haircut, so I ended up just growing it out. But
it looks very soft. I noticed against the Dragons, there's a lot of that just before a box kick. I was wondering whether it's starting to get in the way a bit now. Lloyd.
Oh, it's definitely getting in the way. It's funny because the old man had long hair all through his career, and all he's ever told me is I need to grow my hair because I always used to have the short on the sides, and now I've grown it. First thing he says after the game, "You need your haircut." So
they didn't have an Alice band in his day. You can always grab one on Amazon now, can't you?
Yeah, you could wear one of them.
Yeah, totally. I can I just say as well, Lloyd, being a massive fan, as you know, I know 2020 has been a pretty rubbish year all round, but sometimes I think you look at the positives, don't you? And rugby-wise, it's been brilliant for you, isn't it? How good to get back in the Welsh reckoning and to play and to start. Superb.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was, like you said, there's a couple of positives come out from. Well, I get hopefully for everyone, but yeah, for me that was mine. So it was great to be back in the mix, so to speak, and I really enjoyed being back there, to be honest. And I was grateful for the opportunity, and it was a good time for me.
Well, it's good to see you on the pitch again. Let's talk about the derbies then. Dragons, what a wonderful night that was. I mean, the weather was gorgeous. It was nice. I mean, what was it like? Was it just a nightmare?
Yeah, I think if there's ever an advert why rugby needs to be played in the summer, that was it.
Yeah, correct.
Correct. Yeah, I think I speak for Jadzi as well. For everyone in the team, it was a pretty awful game. It was. I'm quite glad there was no crowd. There wasn't any fans.
Yeah, it probably done him a favour, didn't it?
There's a question in here about how difficult is it as a scrum half to manage that kind of game, Lloyd?
It is tough. I always think when there's a big win like that, I said to Corey before the game, I said this game would be won with whoever wins the toss. Because usually if you get the toss, you play into the wind, and everyone's fresh, you can really kind of muscle out for 40. And we kind of went back in half time and thought it was definitely more than a 9-point win, and it proved to be.
But, so if you win the toss, you play into the wind, is that right?
I mean, usually just because you're fresh, you can kind of, the boys are feeling good, and the first kind of 20 minutes is a bit of an arm wrestle anyway in a rugby match. So usually you've got 20 minutes then to weather the storm, and then you can kind of hopefully use that win second half and kind of mount a bit of pressure. Usually some captains I've played with have played, unless the selfish ones play with the win, then they're not the ones for the team. But.
They go off half time then, don't they? We were winning when I was on the pitch.
Yeah, that was Gethin Jones' favourite.
Josh, I think many regard you now as one of the best wingers in the world, and there's many reasons for that. And one of them is that you do look for the ball a lot and try and get involved in the game as modern wingers should be doing. But I'd imagine the Newport game, unless you're playing number 8, you were never going to get touches of the ball, were you?
No, it was difficult. I honestly found it hard to. Well, I didn't get into the game, but I found it hard to try and find, a passage of play to get involved, because I felt from out on the wing anyway. Don't know about you, Lloyd, but the game was so stop-start. With the conditions being so bad, there was, a drop ball, knock on, scrum, reset scrum, penalty, line out, maul. And it was so stop-start that it was very difficult to find the passage of play to get involved. Which isn't ideal for me, of course.
Frustrating. So, how do you manage?
It was.
Anyone watching who playing when we're back and they stick on the wing and they think it's a great place to be. What advice you have? Is it about just staying patient and waiting for opportunities?
Sorry, say that again, and I lost you for a sec.
From a winger's point of view, how frustrating is it, and how do you deal with that? Do you wait for an opportunity, or do you just accept that it's just terrible conditions and that's the way it is? It's not your game.
Yes, it's a difficult one because with the conditions, especially first half when they had the wind, when Dragons were playing with the wind, realistically that you're going to be doing a lot of defending because they've got the breeze behind them. They're going to play the ball down into your half. So it is about staying patient, but as well, you have to be ready for opportunities if they crop up. I don't think many did on the weekend, and it was one of them games. But I think everybody in the Blues, and I'm pretty sure in the Ospreys, are hoping for a relatively dry night on Friday, and at least we know we've got a good track to play on, which is brilliant, because I'm sure the Rodney Parade ground staff do a terrific job on looking after the pitch, but after about 20-15 minutes with the conditions and how the game was played with all the mauling and scrum, it just turned up, and it was very difficult to play on.
Yeah, no, you're quite right. Friday night under the lights, Ospreys Friday, as you say. Have you played Cardiff City Stadium before, Josh?
No, I've never played at the City Stadium.
That's going to be perfect for you then.
Yeah, it would be great because I played down at the Liberty last year against the Ospreys in the derbies, and I'm pretty certain it's going to be a very similar track. Proper championship football teams. They play on quality surfaces. So it was their surface at the Liberty.
Premier League as well, Josh. Only just from the Premier League. All right, I know you're a Swansea boy, but Cardiff.
Swansea fan, so the Liberty's better, right?
Lloyd, can you tell Josh what it's like to play there? Because you've done it a few times, haven't you? Cardiff City Stadium.
Yeah, no, well, like you said, great track, brilliant. Probably it was when we played there before, it was the best pitch in the league. But ultimately, like I probably speak for Jadzi as well. It's just not the same without. It won't be the same without fans there.
I know.
The same about the Arms Park. Everyone says you're missing the Arms Park. It's just a pitch, but you miss what goes with it, the crowd and stuff. But in terms of playing surface and no wind, I mean, unfortunately there'll be no excuses on the weekend. So we can put a good show on for people at home.
Just on that, and I know you've probably answered this question a million times, but can you sort of give us an insight into what it's like playing without fans? You mentioned that it's more the stadium than it is the pitch, but what is it really like, especially every day? Is it terrible?
Rubbish,
yeah, I think it really does.
How much did it lift you? What, like, percentage-wise, genuinely, how much do you get lifted by a crowd being there, Lloyd?
Well, I didn't until this has happened. I took them for granted, to be honest. Being completely honest, and since this has happened, I just noticed how important they are. Mainly a lot for the players, but also in terms of swaying referees. I really find that the home advantage is kind of like gone a bit, because usually you get like a half. Is that a forward pass? Is it isn't? I can only imagine how much like the cheers and stuff, the groans, like do affect the referee. If you're normal, they would affect anyone, and I've noticed that a little bit, and really relieving now that the vaccine gets rolled out, because sooner the better, I think, for everyone.
We come back, yeah. No, it is. It's bizarre sometimes watching. I know you're a big fan of the NRL, Josh, and you're seeing crowds back there, and makes you want it so much, don't you?
Oh, I know, yeah. Like when I was watching the State of Origin, when they were selling 60, 70,000 to a game, and the place was jumping, and it's like, oh, you miss it so much,
Yeah.
And it'll just be, I think it'll be great. I think even when they first open the gates and just let 2,000 to 4,000 in, that's going to be awesome, just to play with some faces in the crowd, really, bums on seats, really, because at the minute you can just hear your voice echo, and you're not used to that. And I don't sound great echoing either, so the sooner they come back, the better.
Did you not want the cardboard cutouts, or do you think there was a few disastrous ones around the world, and maybe we're better not to have them?
Yeah, there was a few controversial ones, wasn't there?
Too, yeah. We should probably move on from that. You mentioned refs. We've got a question about refs here. Can I ask you a question about refs? This is from Phil Rugby, at Phil Rugby. Do you think Phil's a rugby fan? He's got Rugby Phil on his Twitter. He's probably a rugby fan.
Most likely, innit?
Yeah, I'd say he is. How much preparation goes into studying the referees? How much analysis is presented to players regarding their direct opponent? And how is this presented? I mean, Phil's gone mad there with about 17 questions in one. Let's address the referees first, maybe, Josh.
Yeah, I don't mind picking up on the ref. So I think we do a little bit, not so much as players, but the analyst boys, they tend to look at trends, refereeing trends. So quite common is we're shown how many penalties are awarded to the attacking team or the defensive team, for example. So you can see trends in referees, whether they like to reward the defending team more than the attacking team. So you can sort of gauge on how long you're going to have to be on the ball jackling, for example, before you're going to blow his whistle to give a pen. Small things like that. Don't ask me about how we look at referees for scrums, because I'm sure that's a guessing game, isn't it? To me, that's just a guess.
Yeah.
But with small trends like that, on percentages on penalties awarded to attacking and defensive teams, we definitely have a little clip up to show that. Yeah.
All right. And what about opposite plays, Lloyd? Because a bit of an insight into you here, boys. Today I took my nephew Lenny to the park for a game of one-on-one with a dog, and Lenny was Josh Adams. He made me George North, obviously getting ready for Friday, and the score was 5-0 to the Blues.
I'll take that.
Do you think that's a good insight into what might happen on Friday, Lloyd? And on a more serious note, how much do you sort of... I mean, it's weird, isn't it, with the Ospreys? Because you know so many of them so well anyway. How much analysis do you do on the opposition when you know them so well?
It's kind of... Well, personally, I like to do it on like a team's trends more than like individuals. But you can pick up on small things. Like as a scrum half, I quite like looking at maybe... when the 10 likes to kick the ball or when he shapes to kick a ball, so you can try and put that pressure on them in terms of, kick pressure. But different players like different things. You know, some players don't like a lot of clutter and don't want to think too much about the opposition. Other players want to know every last detail. And, you know, it's each their own, really. Some, you know, I'm not sure about Jazz, but I personally kind of would rather make sure I'm doing my role right. But, some players are very, love looking at every last detail. And I feel like it's all about kind of managing your time within the week. What do you want to prioritize, really? But a lot goes into it, and you know, a lot of boys get a lot of benefit from watching different traits, especially in the line-out. That's a huge one. I mean, you can go into a game knowing exactly another team's line-out if you do your due diligence. I think Dragons. Really? I think the Dragons did their homework on us. To be fair to them, looking at how even when we won the ball, they would go up in the same slot. You could just tell.
But that's a great example with Corey Hill. Obviously, coming to the Blues, you know, he would have been a big part of their lineup before coming to the capital, wouldn't he? Yeah,
exactly. And I think certain people know what certain players like to call, and you know, you could see it. It's not Corey's fault. It's not anyone's. It's just the Dragons doing their homework and getting a bit of reward from it.
Yeah. We've got some good rugby questions here, boys. And I want to get to rugby, but you know, that's what the fans are asking. This is from Martin Wookie, also known as Chewy. Fascinated by names. I like Chewy Boy. A lot spoken nowadays about providing entertainment and enjoyment for the spectator. Well, Martin, we're struggling with that at the moment, aren't we? But does the current scrum half role in the modern game still excite you, Lloyd? When it says, it goes on to say, when you started in the game, is it the same? Are you still excited? I think what he's probably getting at is you spend most of your day dribbling the ball back in a caterpillar for a box kick, because that's what the game needs to be at the moment.
Yeah, it's a question. Well, it's a great question, really.
Good question.
Yeah, I can tell you, Martin. Most scrum halves, if not all of them, didn't fall in love with the game to box kick the ball. I certainly didn't. It was to get my hands on the ball as much as I could and run with the ball effectively. But unfortunately, it's kind of leading on from a question earlier, probably, how the referees dictate things. And I get off after games, texts from my mates, family, friends, asking, why was there so much box kicking? And I think what's important, I feel a bit sorry for the scrum halves because often it's not the scrum half's decision, it's kind of a team, a bit of a
tactics,
tactic and a strategy. And it's something that as players in a team, you have to buy into. I mean, ideally, probably speak for all the boys, we'd like to be playing from our try line all the way up to their try line, just chucking the ball around. But the way the game's refereed at the moment, there's so much ambiguity and a lot of, you see so many teams get penalised, rewarding the defensive team like Jadzi was talking about. It almost takes that inconsistency of refereeing out of it by putting the ball in their half and asking them to, let's see if we can get rewarded for a penalty in your half. It's really frustrating because ideally you'd like to build pressure from keeping the ball, but unfortunately keeping the ball statistically, and you watch every week, you get penalised for going through, which I find really frustrating. I think it needs to be looked at because you watch too many games these days, and they're just constant box kicks, and that's a team strategy, and I don't blame the coaches for implementing that because ultimately at the moment, unfortunately, that's what wins games.
Yeah.
So I think it's something that referees need to look at of how I think they could play a big role in making the game a bit more exciting and rewarding attacking teams, and not so every time someone gets their hands on the ball, they don't reward exactly, so that teams can get through phases. I tell you, one team that does it brilliantly is Bristol. They build pressure from keeping ball, and I think you've got to be on the money every breakdown, and to their credit, they are. And I love watching Bristol play. I think it's brilliant. But unfortunately, it's kind of the rules dictate the way the game's going. And Jazz, I know you'd be lying if you said you like winger because you chase box kicks all day.
Yeah,
you hate it. And scrum halves, you don't like it.
Yeah, I bet. That's really interesting. Look, and I don't want to put you on the spot, Josh, but is there, lots talked about rugby, with rugby and the rules. Is this something that can be done with with the rules, whether that's, I don't know, less points for a penalty kick or something to encourage the attacking side. Is that something you talk about as boys, or is it just the way it is?
I honestly I couldn't answer that question because I just wouldn't know. But on Lloyd's point there, with that law change now where referees award the jackler so quickly, you just literally get, and boys are so good at it. Like this, you have out and out jacklers in most teams, and they're so good at it. Literally, as soon as the referee sees them making a conscious effort to put their hands on the ball as a penalty, so that makes it so difficult to go through any sort of multi-phase to build some attacking pressure with the ball. So that's why you see teams up to their halfway line, maybe 1-2 phase, minimum low risk as much as possible, and then put the ball back in their half. Basically, teams now are happier to defend than they are to attack. And in ideally, no, that shouldn't be. It should be two teams going hammer and tongs, showing all their best moves, going at each other, of course. And that's what everyone wants to see. That's what we want to do. But also we want to win. And if that's the way rugby is at the moment, and that's the way you win games, that's what we have to do. Yeah. And unfortunately, that's the situation we're in at the moment. I'd like to think there'd be some sort of little rule changes here and there. Like I said, I don't know what they could be, but that may be encouraging a bit more attacking play and rewarding, like Lloyd said, the attacking team a little bit more for showing some sort of ambition and showing some sort of intent to play with the ball.
Yeah.
I find it crazy that this year they've gone crazy on the jackler. I think everyone about 2 years ago realised that the game needed a bit more excitement, and it's almost like they've gone backwards even further. And as players, like, you come away from games and you're like, I wasn't even out of breath because that's all we did was set for kicks all day. And I don't blame coaches for saying that's the tactic they want, because ultimately they get judged on results. And
exactly.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that more the derbies? So when you play Newcastle or Stad, is it different with the French leagues and the English leagues? And Josh, when Worcester there, the rules are slightly different when you're at Worcester. Have you noticed differences in leagues, opposition in that way, or do you think across the board at the moment the jackal is the king?
Yeah, literally. That's it. You've hit the nail on the head there. It's like the team that's happier to apply pressure through kicking and then getting their good jacklers on the ball. I think that's what most teams are doing now. They're setting up in that caterpillar box kick just to stop the charge down, and then England done it during the autumn. So they put Ben Curry, I think it was, and Sam Underhill. Whenever there'd be a box kick, they'd always have one of them either side.
Yeah.
So if it was on the left side, it might be Curry. On the right side, it might be Underhill. So their job literally was, when Ben Young, or Dan Robson box kick, we're going to go after the ball, tackle the guy man on ball, and their job was just on the ball straight away. So literally, they were just chasing jackal, chasing jackal. And you know what? They were really, really good at it. And it eventually won them the Autumn Nation Cup.
Yeah.
How good they were.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of times, we obviously do analysis. So the amount of times England kicked the ball was far more than anybody else. And they won the whole thing. They won the Six Nations, and they're the team that kicked the ball most. So there's obviously a trend in applying pressure through kicking, being very good defensively, and having good jacklers in your side. And I think, that's where we're at the minute.
There's been loads of questions about kicking the ball and stuff, and I think you've covered that so brilliantly. I suppose one little line there, maybe, Lloyd, for people watching against the Ospreys on Friday, is this is the way the game is now. This is not you trying to play negatively as a team. It's more, as we find rugby at the moment, something needs to change. And in the meantime, we need to win games.
Yeah, and it comes to that cliche kind of saying, like, players buy into a way of playing, and unfortunately, like Josh has alluded to, that's what at the moment wins rugby. It's not rugby as we kind of would like it and know it, but I mean, I until I was 19, I'd never box kicked. I didn't know. It wasn't until I got to senior rugby we started box kicking, and it's kind of what unfortunately is winning rugby games. And I think rugby got a big challenge to compete with the likes of NRL and rugby league, because it's constantly attacking, it's constantly entertainment. Whereas at the moment,
NRL's class.
I mean,
I'm a massive fan too. It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's brilliant. But hopefully we get a bit of open rugby on Friday and can chuck it around.
Yeah, just get another hat trick, standard. Let's lighten the mood with this one from Dan Thomas. During the pandemic, which one player would you like to be in lockdown with?
Yeah.
Say women's rugby team.
So it was just me and this guy in the house now for the 3 months or 4 months, wherever we were in. Yeah,
9 months, isn't it? It's like 9 months. One player. I tell you what, you can have a player that you want to spend lockdown with, and a player that you certainly wouldn't want to spend lockdown.
All right,
with.
wouldn't Rhys Carey? Straight.
Rhys Carey straight on the list. I feel like you need to tell us more about.
Who would I like to spend lockdown?
You've given me Rhys Carey with no reason, which scares me to ask why.
Untidy.
Oh, is it?
I think Owen. I'm not sure I'd like to spend lockdown with Owen.
Yeah, good one there.
100 mile per hour all the time.
Yeah, flat out.
Is he?
Oh, he's flipping 100 mile per hour. Yeah, it's hard work. He can't get any wood in edgeways either. So
No.
that would be my one not to spend lockdown.
Awkward moment with Owen Lane. For years, I thought he went to Glantav, same school as me, and spoke Welsh. So I spoke Welsh to him for a good 2 years before I realised he went to Whitchurch High School, and for 2 years hadn't understood a word I've said to him. He's got one of those cool motorbikes now, isn't he? Some of the boys have got those cool little sort of, are they bikes, are they motorbikes? I'm not quite sure. And he's going around on them on 100 miles an hour, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he got it, took a couple of pictures and put it on Instagram and sold the bike then the week after. So
double the price.
Money well spent, I say.
Yeah. Probably anyway, didn't he? Come on in, let's be positive. Who would you like to spend it with? That's what Dan's asking here. I like the fact Dan's being positive about it.
Well, I used to live with Alice Jenkins, and he made a hell of a cup of tea. So,
did he?
In terms of bigger picture, 3 month stints, I think he'd be a good little housemate again.
Lovely. Yeah, he's good. And he likes Disney films, doesn't he? And he tries to earn a bit on the Instagram when he's injured. He's back soon, hopefully. Fingers crossed. He'll be back soon, won't he? He said
within the month, I'd say.
Yeah, go on, Josh. Come on.
I'll go with Sanjay. Me and him, we're both mad keen gamers, so we game all the time. So we'd probably sit in the same room but talk to each other on the headset, which we quite often do, which is good. And from what I remember,
you still speak to each other through the computer. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, totally in the virtual world. Totally, okay. Yeah. That's where we do most of our talking. And what I can remember, we had a weekend in Bristol not long ago, and we stayed in like a B&B, and he cooked an amazing breakfast.
He's good at the
He's very good. Like he'll get up earlier than everybody else when everybody's hungover. You walk downstairs, he's got the bacon on and the eggs. So for that reason, I think, I'll go with him. I'll go with Sanj.
The egg on and off the pitch.
He'll be happy with that. He'll be happy with
that. Everyone from the Blues, though, there, Josh. You've gone with someone outside the capital. I don't know if I'm like gonna. Okay, I'm gonna let you have
that. Okay. Okay, that's right.
You can have that. This is from Mr. Bainon, and I think you sort of covered it a bit before because of going from Rodney Parade to the Cardiff City Stadium on Friday. Bit weird being away from the Arms Park. I mean, you've been like sort of a little bit homeless, haven't we, as a team over the past few months? Has it just been the way it is?
Yeah, it has really, isn't it, Josh? Like, it's just something we've had to put up with. We'd all love to be back there, but mentioned earlier, I think the thing that makes the Arms Park is the crowd. We went back there from the City Stadium for that kind of close atmosphere, and we're missing that at the moment. So I think once we get back there, it'd be great for us, a bit of a big boost. I certainly love it. Yeah.
But it was one of them things where I think as a Blues we were more than happy, and we were quite proud to be able to have that Dragon's Heart hospital there to help out, and if that was our way as a club helping out, then that's fantastic. So it's obviously been pulled down now, and the pitch is almost done, so I'm told. And the date's getting closer, so we're looking like end of Jan. Hopefully now we can get back out on the plastic pitch.
Could be out Newcastle, couldn't it? End of Jan,
hopefully.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's fingers crossed. That's the game. Yeah,
that's a really good point, Josh. Because obviously bigger picture is great, but going into round 10, it's been weird because obviously the Ospreys moved to the Straddy to play their home game. You don't even know who's home and away at the moment. Just on that, really competitive though, because both yourselves and Ospreys are just on that sort of fine line of playoffs and Europe and stuff. That obviously plays on your mind, and you want to go out to win every game. But does that give it a little bit of extra bite on Friday night? It'd be a good feeling, wouldn't it, going into Europe with the victory? You gearing up for that as a team? Yeah,
well, last year I think we were very unlucky not to go 3 from 3 in the derbies. Ospreys away, Dragons, Scarlets home, and it was snatched away from us at the Scarlets game. Really, I really thought we were hard done by, our own fault in ways, but I really thought we should have won that game. So, with 2 home games now after doing our away slog at Rodney Beach, if you want, I think there's no reason why we can't go and get 3 from 3 this year.
Yeah. And Lloyd, rest of the season we've got here. I'm going to throw a couple in here for you to answer as one, if that's all right. We got one from Holly saying, "Hope you're well. Talking a little bit about the ill discipline costing us to be slow starters at the moment. What's our clear direction for the rest of the season?" And the reason I picked up on that as well is just regards to the rest of the season. We mentioned there you got Europe, obviously Stade away after beating them at home, and then Newcastle. And then the Rainbow Cup as well. So maybe answering all of those in one, Lloyd. Slow starters, bit of ill discipline, and remainder of the season.
Discipline, yeah. I think that does contribute to a slow start, but I think sometimes like a lack of discipline can sometimes almost be overeager to stamp an impression on the game. And there are big differences between negative and positive penalties. And on the weekend there's a couple of positives, but also a couple of negatives. So an example of a positive maybe penalty would be an offside in defence, maybe because the boys are because we're a blitz team, we're trying to get off the line. Boys are just overeager. So that would be one that you can kind of take early on, like Josh trying to put pressure on Tavis, charging him down but getting done for offside. I mean, I'd put that as a positive penalty because he's showing, Tavis for the rest of the game is wondering where's Josh, so that's almost like a positive penalty. So you can take them. The negative ones would be, stupid, dull penalties, which we were guilty of a couple on the weekend. So I think it does contribute to a slow start. And we talk about it, discipline, kind of so many elements to it. But I think the biggest thing for us as a team, we always talk discipline it's in defence, but it's also in attack. Make sure that we're disciplined in how we're running our phase play and our shape, and I think it's both sides of the ball, And I think that is like Holly is a good question because it's tough really to put your finger on, and we've already spoke about it for a long time tonight, unfortunately. But the referees do have a big bearing on it, and it's something that we all have to manage, So direction for the rest of the season, I'd like to think we can do well in both campaigns, the league and the league and Europe. Europe's kind of a bonus if we get through. We can kind of look at quarters then. But I think for the Cardiff Blues, we're really trying to do something in the league this year. That's why maybe the last couple of months were a bit disappointing because we expect more from each other in terms of how we're doing in the league. And the Rainbow Cup, we're not sure what to expect. Really, with the South African teams, they're obviously very strong and stuff, but that's probably a bridge we'll cross later on in the year. But Jazz, what do you think direction for the rest of the season? It's kind of it's been an odd one really, so it's tough to kind of think about.
Yeah, no, just to reiterate your point, I think there isn't any reason really why as a squad we couldn't be up there, playoffs, definitely Champions Cup. The quality we got definitely should be doing that every season, and that has to be a minimum for us. I think as a squad, we need to drill that into us, and that needs to be a minimum standard. Like underneath that isn't acceptable. And like I said, that's why Lloyd was saying the last couple of weeks when the small losses to like Ulster at home. I know them losses really did hurt the boys because they were probably a better team, should have won and didn't win. And it's being able to win them games. And, you know, there's 2 or 3 games in that period of time where if they'd won, you know, that's like 9 points plus 12 points.
Yeah.
You know, and all of a sudden we're, you know, we've got some breathing space at the top end, you know, third, second. And I think if you can get them fine margins, then yeah, that minimum standard will be hit most seasons.
Just on those minimum margins, there's a question. We'll probably come to an end on this, and I think it's a really nice message actually. Talking about the differences between, you know, a week with the Blues and a week in Wales camp, and just to add to that, if I may, a question from Hugh Jones. Just to add to that, Lloyd's back in the Welsh camp. Josh, your story is kind of brilliant and remarkable in that, you know, you're in Llanelli, Wales under 20, then you go to Worcester, then you go on loan, and then you come back and bang, take the world by storm. What are the differences between, you know, that sort of Premiership player and then going to be a top player in the world? From an individual point of view, not so much as the team, what do you do to be the very best you can be, Josh?
Confidence. I think as soon as you realize, like after my first cap or second cap, as soon as you realize that you're able to compete and play well at an international level, then all of a sudden you have more confidence in yourself. And then as soon as you start believing in yourself a little bit more, that you can play well, do well at this level, that's when you sort of free yourself up a little bit, if you like. You know, you allow yourself to go and maybe try something different, or, you know, roam off your wing, where in your first cap you just want to be like stuck to the touchline, be like don't go anywhere, don't make a mistake, you know, that sort of thing. So you sort of like free yourself up and realize that, you know, I'm actually able to contribute something at this level. And I think a lot of, well, especially back three, and probably with Lloyd as well, is a lot of time you put in on your own as well. So, you know, when the training session's finished, you know, you have your training session, and then, you know, you're doing your small bits, and you constantly do your small bits. And I've realized in my own game that all them small bits now are definitely come together, where I can see things a lot better. Where, for example, right, in defense, it's a tough position to defend on the wing with a lot of set plays going on. So when you first play at national level, it's like everything's 100 mile an hour. It's like people running in and out everywhere. You honestly don't know which guy to tackle, where to stand, where to go, whatever. And then as soon as you start practicing them sort of making reads in defense, getting comfortable with your centre is key, getting comfortable with who's playing inside you. Then all of a sudden it's like everything's starting to go in a bit slow motion. But you can see things a lot clearer, and you can make decisions a lot better. So I think them small bits you do outside of training and on your own definitely make a huge difference when it comes to playing.
And then Lloyd, from your point of view, you've been doing it for such a long time, like into the squad 2011. Obviously, we all remember 2015 and the contribution there, and now back in the squad again. Have you changed anything? Is it something you're doing, or what is it?
Long hair.
Maybe it's the way Steve and Wayne want to play the game. You know, there's a lot of things it could be, but going probably back in Jadzie's point, got a real chance in lockdown to kind of work on a few things that maybe I wasn't in the past, and you know, whether they've helped my game or not, it's certainly given me that confidence. So that was a really good period for me. I kind of worked on a few things there, and kind of give us a chance to really reflect on rugby really, and see where we're at. But coming back, you know, ultimately the team played well. Ospreys, you know, early on the season, Zebra, Connaught, and I always think, you know, if the team goes well, you've got a real chance to play well. So it's not all, you know, like down to the individual. And I was lucky. I played in some good performances, and I was really grateful I got an opportunity. Would have loved to have got a couple of better results in the Autumn Cup, but I'm sure that'll come. But I'd just reiterating what Jadzie said. You know, a lot of it comes down to your personal work-ons. Everyone does the team sessions. It's what you do around those that can help your game, really, I think.
Yeah. A very modest man. I think it was the hair too. Right. I've had loads of comments, by the way, guys. And this is not because I'm a technophobe and I've only just found the comments section. I thought it was a bit quiet. So I took the ones from before. That's what I've been asking you. We'll do this quick fire, okay?
Yeah.
Just to get through it. Rian, hi guys. Can you say a big hello to Treherbert RFC Minis and Juniors?
Hello, Treherbert RFC Minis and Juniors.
Job done. Hope you're getting back to playing very soon, guys. Lizzie B wants to know, Josh, did you do the peeling at least with the Christmas dinner, or did you just sit on your ass?
Well, with all guys,
you sat on your ass.
Wives, you try and help. You can't help because you're doing it wrong, so you just leave them to it, don't you?
That's fair. Sarah was talking about going back to Cardiff City Stadium. We've talked about that, haven't we? Thomas Lloyd, if you could have only one, pigs in blankets or Yorkshire pudding?
Pigs in blankets.
100%. 100%.
Like a Yorkshire pudding at Christmas today.
Easy.
My mum makes. Okay, here we go. Owen says, "Hope we can come back and see you play again soon. My mum makes me be guard of honour for the Ospreys because I play for Pile Piglets. Pile Piglets, the best name ever." Alan Parker,
good team.
Good team, are they? You know that team. Rose's Quality Street Celebrations or Heroes, which is the Christmas chocolate of choice? Josh, I think we've covered your chocolate of choice.
Rose's Quality Streets or Heroes.
She's gone for pretty much any Cadbury's there is.
Quality Streets.
Okay.
Yeah, probably Quality Streets.
Roses, more like proper roses. You're romantic. My daughter can't wait to get back on the pitch. She's making her move to an all-girls team. That's from Siobhan. Good luck, Siobhan.
Good luck.
Lizzie B, daddy or chips?
Chips, please.
Chips. Stephen's loving chips as well. Good. I've started something again. No. Say hello to Zara.
Hi, Zara.
Ashley's lost the plot. I missed them. I can't wait for camps to start back on holidays. Owen's lost the plot as well. Been too much of that, I think. So I guess the association with lovely NHS stuff. As Josh and Lloyd say, you have to stay focused with games around Christmas. So I guess they associate with all the lovely NHS staff. I've missed being at the Arms Park this season, but especially Boxing Day and New Year's derbies, as there's so much fun from a fan perspective. All the best. That's from Delith. Diolch, I totally agree. I miss it too.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that's not appropriate. I can't believe Mike's let some of these come through to me. I'll be honest. One of them's about your hair, Lloyd, and it's really nice, but it's very rude nice, if you know what I'm saying.
I'm gonna have a look at these comments now.
Peter, great nickname chips. I'll read a few more. That's funny. Owen, make sure you beat the Ospreys, okay?
We'll do our best, O's.
Peter's saying it's tough for wings nowadays, not having pockets to put your hands in them.
It would be nice to have some pockets on Saturday.
Just keep them.
It'd probably look worse if I just put them like down my shorts, like down my pants. You know what I mean? That would look awful, wouldn't it?
There's loads of great comments on there as well, but I think we've covered a lot of ground in 3/4 of an hour. Just quickly, so it's Tuesday now, game Friday. Are you in tomorrow? In Thursday?
Yeah, in tomorrow and Thursday.
In tomorrow, Thursday training, and then game Friday night.
Yeah,
rock and roll Friday.
We're not doing a great deal of training are we, at the moment because get our test results and then you have to wait until our results come back. So we're missing 2 days of prep, but so is everyone else. So it's just the way it is right now. But it's
just the safest way to do it at the minute.
Yeah.
Boys, it's still great that there's rugby on the telly to watch, and I for one will be tuning in on Friday and rooting for you. So lovely chatting. Thanks for your time. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Please know with that.
Yeah.
And good luck on Friday. Pob luck.
Diolch.
Cheers,
Cheers, boys.
Man. Ta, boys. Ta, Lloyd.